Yo, Tom Fiddzy here with my review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Spoiler warning straight from the start. I've just come out of the cinema and my feelings on it. The best way to describe it is I'm glad I saw what I saw and I'm glad I didn't see what I saw. That is like the kind of best place I would describe where my mind is at with this film. Because watching this film, it was like a roller coaster, both on screen and in my head. And as I was watching it, I didn't really know if I was enjoying it. But now that I'm out and on the walk home, I definitely did enjoy it. And I think the reason for that is that it's this weird case where my expectations were super high and they weren't met. And that is a good thing, because by my expectations not being met, I was generally surprised with the film, and I thought the film was better because of that. And if now I'm surprised by the lack of surprises in a way, and I think that that's a much bigger surprise and a much bolder choice and decision. And I'll try and explain a little bit more in this off the cuff review as I go along. I hope it's making sense so far. So when I went into this film, I was actually a little bit worried that sorry, I got a really squeaky chair. I was a little bit worried that it was just gonna be this like crazy non-stop cameo fest, self-referencing Marvel fan service film. I was worried that Doctor Strange was kind of just gonna be sidelined in his own film, and because it looked like there were loads of characters, and you had Wanda in it, and then you had America Chavez was in it as well, and it looked like they were introducing all these other characters, and you kept hearing about all of these other characters that are going to be popping in, these cameos, and I was like, oh my god, it just feels like it's just going to be so much, it's just going to be nonsense, and Doctor Strange is just going to be like this generic guy in his own film. That wasn't it at all. it wasn't it at all. Yeah, there were a lot of characters, and yeah, there were those cameos and surprises and stuff, but still, despite everything and the weird visuals and the big action and all the wacky, crazy stuff, it was a very character-driven movie. It really focused on Doctor Strange. It really focused on Wanda, and it really focused on America Chavez, and it was great. I'm so happy. It was a really good film for Doctor Strange and Wanda. They were obviously they were the main characters of the film, but I was worried that the set piece would be the main character of the film, but it wasn't. At the end of the day, the set piece was the side character, and it was very much them. It was very much Doctor Strange. He's in the Multiverse of Madness, but it's still Doctor Strange. And he got some great play in this. He got some great character development, some great growth. He literally confronted his demons in this. And Wanda as well had some great growth as well. Both Elizabeth Olsen and Benedict Cumberbatch were phenomenal in this film. Scarlet Witch in particular was just incredible. What a great, as I said, spoilers, what a great villain. And what a great character arc for her. She was amazing as the villain in this movie. Like such a threat, such a danger, so badass, like just this unstoppable, scary force. And it was so cool to see. He played really well. Another one of those characters where you understand where she's coming from, but at the same time you're like, how you're going about it is wrong. Marvel is absolutely nailing that in the villains right now. Every single one at the end, sometimes they get their little redemption moments. She got her one in here. She got the justice that she deserved for it, but it was still such a great villain because you cared, even though she was bad in this, you still cared about her as a character and stuff, and you still felt for her. And I'm so glad that Doctor Strange got to go on his journey as well, and like kind of the core thing of the story is, what is your happiness? Wanda was trying to find hers. Doctor Strange was ignoring what made, himself. So Wanda was all about trying to make herself happy. Doctor Strange was all about kind of pretending that he's not happy, and ignoring it. And yeah, and I'm just what I'm surprised about is how much that resonated with me coming out of the film, and that how I even though I didn't get all of those big cameo things that I went into this film wanting, I actually feel much better that I didn't get that, because I feel like it would have taken it away. Yes, obviously, from the trailers, we got the cameos, but it was limited to only one scene. And I feel like this is a film that I'm going to enjoy much more on a second viewing, because the first viewing I was all like, oh, here we go. We're going to get some weird stuff. We're going to see Spider-Man. We're going to see Deadpool. Who are we going to see? Who are we going to see? Where are we going to go next? And then it didn't happen. I was like, oh, okay, so now I have to wait. And, I was constantly just waiting for those things to happen. They didn't happen. And now I'm okay with it. And that when we did get the cameos, they didn't take away from the film like I feared they would. The cameos were good. Obviously, a lot of them were kind of expected. We'd had teasers of them. We'd seen some of them in the trailer. I'm glad it was kind of limited to that one scene, but there were some genuine actual surprises in there. Again, spoilers. The biggest one obviously being Mr. Fantastic, played by John Krasinski. Mr. Sunday Movie is going to have to find a new joke to go on about. He actually got that one right. Ding ding, well done. And that was really great to see, and seeing him getting ripped apart like a cheese string was. I didn't think I'd see that. Captain Carter, obviously, rumored, speculated, saw the shield on like one of the posters. Xavier, we know about. Black Bolt was kind of in the like in the air. The people were speculating that it was going to be Black Bolt. You could kind of maybe see, but so cool that it was the one from the Inhumans. That was really, really awesome. And then obviously Captain Marvel, where there was no Tom Cruise as Tony Stark, there was no Deadpool, there was no Into the Spider-Verse, no, there was a Spider-Man reference, but no Spider-Man. There was they went to like a cartoon realm, but it wasn't anything. It was just like a generic cartoon realm briefly. There was, apart from Xavier, the mutants didn't come into the MCU. There was no Wolverine. There was no Batman randomly, they didn't go into like the Star Wars universe. And all of that is fine. The way that the cameos were, they felt cool, they felt organic, they didn't overtake the story. And I'm glad that scenes were not just like, look, here's Deadpool, look, here's Wolverine. The way they were in the story was just like, cool, here they are, they played a role in the story, they got brutally killed, we move on. And maybe they will appear in the mainline MCU. Maybe they won't. But that's all cool. I love the visuals of this. The visuals were amazing. The first kind of world they went to, like the Illuminati world, was a little bit weird. Like they had the very like plot device, like stand on here and you get some memories. Yeah, we're going to show you some flashbacks. Really convenient. It was really convenient. And it was at that point in the film I was a little bit like, I'm not sure if I'm enjoying myself, It felt really slow at that point, The film felt like it was just taking its time. I felt like I'd already invested a lot of time in it. But it was kind of when Wanda was storming the castle that I really actually started to be like, this isn't the film I thought it was going to be. And now I'm enjoying it. I love that scene. I love the horror stuff in this. I love the gruesome and the gore in this. I'm not really a gruesome horror movie kind of guy, but I was really enjoying it in this. Like there was some brutal stuff in the MCU. Just seeing Zombie Strange, Wanda, proper scary. That one scene in the pipes where the water like slowed down and the drops, and you're like, is she gonna bust through the door? And then she just appears. Whoa, that was terrifying. There were so many little scenes where it was like weird, just visuals and stuff. Sometimes it maybe took a bit long, like when Wanda was first inhabiting the body and all the world was like weird and there was like waves in the cup. I was like, this is dragging. When Doctor Strange was going into like the spirit realm and stuff, maybe that felt like it went on a little bit too long. But yeah, but I think that was more of just kind of me being like watching the film, being like, "Come on, get to the cameos, get to the things." I feel like I think in that Spirit one, I was just like, "Here we go, it's going to be Mephisto, here we go," and it wasn't. Um, and because of that, actually, that was better, because if it was Mephisto, it would have taken me out of that moment. That was all about Doctor Strange kind of coming to grips with literally his kind of own demons and stuff, and him kind of finding some like belief in himself and everything like that. And yeah, so seeing Mephisto in that moment would have taken away from it. But I was generally thinking we're gonna see it. All I could think in them scenes in my head was we're gonna see it, we're gonna see it, and it was kind of taken away from it. We didn't get the what if Doctor Strange. We didn't get the zombie Wonder. The trailers did their job at tricking us into what we were gonna see. I would have actually liked a little bit more of the what if direct referencing. Obviously, we had Captain Carter there, but it wasn't the Captain Carter. Yeah, we had, a corrupt, twisted Doctor Strange, but it wasn't Strange Supreme. We didn't see the Watcher at any point. I kept expecting maybe to see him in the background somewhere. So yeah, I think out of all of the cameos that we didn't get, the direct connections to What If is the biggest one. We didn't get Kang, we didn't get Loki, we didn't get the TVA. Um, and maybe that's all good. Maybe that is all actually good, I think. It does have a big question, though. The big question in this, when I've come out of it, was like, how powerful then is Kang? Because Wanda was adamant how you travel through the multiverse is you have to have America Chavez's power. And she's the only one. There's only one of her. This is how I do it. And I've looked and I've searched and I've used the Darkhold. And then we watch Loki, and they're traveling around the multiverse like, so easy. I'll slap down a door, walk through, I'll recall a door, delete this universe. Traveling in and out of them, just going to have a look at Pompeii. Oh, there goes the mountain as a test. Just went to Pompeii as a test. Come back, just traveling through time. Branches in the timelines, every time there's a branch, that's another multiverse, and they're just easily traveling between it. It's not just the time machine, you know. They're literally traveling to different dimensions. How you, I guess you could be like, well, how big of a gap is it to go from a paint universe to our universe? But they still have that technology to do it, and there was no reference to the TVA in this at all. So, is that technology that far out of scope that even Wanda and the Darkhold, and we saw how powerful Wanda is, she could delete the Darkhold across the multiverse. Even then, you still couldn't see the TVA, Kang's creation. So how powerful is Kang? How big of a threat is he? How amazing is that technology that he's developed? If they are really pursuing him as the big bad, then this film kind of just emphasizes for me how bad he could actually be. Because like I said, we saw how powerful Wanda was. We saw how sought after America Chavez's powers were. And there's Kang doing something very similar effortlessly, So that is really that's really something to take away from this film. Again, a little bit worried at the end, as I've been going through a lot of the Marvel phase, new movies and stuff, is it doesn't seem like we know what that direction is. We see Dormammu's like sister or something, is it sister, niece or something, appear in the end. We see the dark dimension. Doctor Strange now, he's happy, he's kind of loving life. He sees a call to adventure, and he's like, yeah, I'll take it, with a new pretty woman. I'm finally over that Christine stuff. I finally found my own peace. I've left those demons behind. I've grown as a person. Let's do it. Let's go on this weird new adventure. And I'm excited to see it because I really enjoyed this movie, and I want to see a lot more. I want to see more of Doctor Strange's growth. I want to see more what the multiverse has to offer. I want to see more as to this kind of weird Sam Raimi vision that he's created. But at the same time, I'm a little bit just like, where are you going, MCU? Because even this film, yeah, it references Spider-Man, And yeah, you have to watch WandaVision, but we knew for a long time that WandaVision and this were connected. It still feels very separate to what else is going on in the MCU. You know, it's so different from what's going on in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the building up of the Dark Avengers and like Hawkeye, and completely disconnected from Moon Knight, and there was like Gore the God Butcher is coming up in 4, and that just feels so separate now. Um, so yeah, it feels like the MCU was the sacred timeline, and then they defeated Thanos, and it's just started a split. And this is what Kang warned about. You know, if it starts to split, it starts going crazy and starts falling apart. And I hope it isn't, because I'm really love the MCU. But there is that slight fear. But but what was good about this film is, despite the fact that you had to watch WandaVision, it still kind of stands on its own, and that is also really good. You know, yeah, I just came out of this film just thinking that it's cool to be surprised still, and it's cool to be surprised not by just seeing surprises. It's good to be surprised that they actually made a good film. You know, it sounds a little bit weird, but my thoughts were, I thought I was just going to be happy to see a bunch of cameos, but instead I saw a really good character driven film with some amazing visuals. Maybe some of the bits dragged on a little bit too long. Maybe there was a few like hit and misses. Maybe it wasn't the cinematic spectacle I was expecting it to be. You know, I thought there was going to be like Spider-Man, lots of whooping and cheering and people being like, "Oh my god!" But like Xavier appeared and someone like tried to start a clap and it just didn't work because we'd seen it in the trailers. But there were audible gasps with Mr. Fantastic. But for the most part, it was very silent, you know. Not even really that. Like, I feel like not all of the jokes landed. It wasn't that kind of film. Uh, yeah, it wasn't that kind of film. Instead, it was the first proper Marvel horror film, and it was a good character film. And yeah, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It wasn't the madness, but it was Doctor Strange in the multiverse of genuine, humble surprises, and I'm very thankful for it. So thank you, Sam Raimi, Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, and everybody else involved in the film.